This is a story about what actually makes production companies scale. We're going to be sitting down with Rupert, somebody who's actually grown a commercial production company that's trusted by talent like Duck Dynasty, Carrie Underwood, and brands like Walmart and Mercedes-Benz. And he didn't do it by just buying better gear, but by actually changing part of the business that most creators avoid. Chris is also going to break down some production budgets for us on actual projects inside of Saturation. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to our channel and share any questions or thoughts you might have in the comments.
Jobs are won in pre-production. The creative decisions you make before you're on set, the financial decisions you make before you're on set is everything. It establishes how successful a job is. A lot of times clients save up a full year to be able to spend a few $100,000 on a spot on 30 seconds. Part of the genesis of starting our own company is just a company that was a good steward of our clients' funds and pushed as much of that money on set as possible.
That's so great. And I'm actually curious, how did you initially come across Saturation?
Yeah, so when I started, pre-pro books were built in Excel. And like Excel is the worst thing to build a visual presentation ever. Is there a better way to do this? AICP kind of became an organization we got involved in pretty quickly, and their standards were solid. And so we started using Hot Budget, and it was always a struggle because it was built on Excel and Excel macros. And so you could never update your Mac, or if your Excel accidentally auto updated at night, it would break your Hot Budget. There was always these hacks of like reforcing an old update at Excel, so there was no collaboration. If that Excel file sat on someone's Dropbox or somewhere, it had to be closed and reopened by someone else. And then the heat of production, there's so much to manage. But you don't really know were they over or under until, a few days after the job when people start turning in their receipts. It would be at least a week, if not 2 weeks, until we started looking and seeing how well we were doing on the job. So I'm going to go on a search. Saturation just appealed to me on multiple levels. Just the ability to collaborate, the ability to keep track of actuals in real time was huge. A web-based bidding system that you can collaborate with your team. You can share budgets and share levels of permission. And this idea of not having to transfer my Amex expenses into QuickBooks and then pair that and actualize it and not know really where we truly stand till the end of the job. If it was going to replace what we were doing, we needed to go all in. And so from the very first job, we used Saturation Pay.
So I wonder if you're comfortable opening up Saturation and showing what some expenses might look like, what some actuals might look like in an open project, maybe a past project. Can you open up and show us?
So here is a project. It was a 3-day shoot with scout and some travel and lots of moving variables, multi-cities. So with 3 days, there's some people that were going to be in some cities and some people that are going to be in other cities. This particular project, we pitched 2 directors for it. So I bid one director, my line producer bid another director. The ability to do phases, we were able to do that inside of one project. The note field, lots of notes, 2 days in DFW, 1 day in Houston, the drone op, using the contacts. And the thing that gets everyone is the auto actualization. So real time spending reports and actualizing in post.
That's awesome that it works like this easily now instead of Saturation, but I'm actually curious, before Saturation, in your production company, how would have something like this have worked? Like how did you do this before?
Yeah, so in the past, if we had time, I needed at least a week. Who was going to get cards? Do we have time for cards? Oh shoot, we forgot to issue this PA a card. So now we're gonna have to get petty cash, which petty cash is just all kinds of problems. We would typically do like 3 or 4 days of pulling out 10 grand at the bank at a time. Art department's getting 10 grand to buy their props, to get their trucking. You have wardrobe spending. Even though their budget may only be like 4 grand, they will spend like 15 grand easy on wardrobe because they spend like 2 or 3 times what they're given because they buy all this wardrobe, we try it on, the stuff that doesn't fit gets returned, the stuff that doesn't get worn gets returned. These purchases, returns, the matching up of the receipts is just this nightmare that happens afterwards. And then you layer on the cash. Some people are super good and they have an envelope and every receipt's with an envelope and they tape it up. Some people are bad and their personal habits with cash gets translated in production. They stuff a few hundred in their pocket, they pour it out on the table at night, 100 goes missing, and you can't show receipts for that. You have to come up with that cash back. And so you lose a receipt, that's penalized by you just being out that cash, and you have to pay back productions. There's tipping. And so they're handwriting receipts for that. And it's like, petty cash was always just a nightmare. Go over the next few days of a wrap is that each department would tape up all their receipts, add all their stuff into an Excel spreadsheet, and then run their own numbers. So essentially, you're asking the most creative wardrobe or art department person that's like excels at designing a room and buying props to all of a sudden become the most meticulous accountant. So they would have to bring all the receipts taped up, a spreadsheet showing every dollar they spent, and then the leftover cash. So they turn that in, they sit down with a production manager or coordinator, and they go over it and say, okay, great, take that money. That money gets set aside. We got to put it in a safe. And then that money's got to get taken back to the bank. So we have that receipt and it's put back into the job, and then getting all that to add up in QuickBooks. It's a nightmare. And if I never have to deal with cash at that level again, man, using the P cards, the funds of it is being able to assign virtual cards and physical cards was a really nice element. We had, someone in Houston. We're in Dallas. Most of our days were in Dallas, DFW. But we had a crafty person in Houston that had to shop for the crafty before us. So I was able to just send her a virtual card and apply, her spending limit on it right away. Same with the PAs running the truck. They got to buy fuel. So being able to send them a virtual card. We try to have zero cash productions now. Between the physical and the virtual cards, we're able to do everything. And then a few location checks. It works. This is just a straightforward 3-day shoot with the typical crew: line producer, AD, DP, first, second assistant, a second camera op, gaffer, grip. This is a lighter crew because I'm shooting a lot of content over multiple days. You can see how we're using our prep and wrap. Location expenses. We're found very inexpensive locations on this project. Some of our people on our team use this as the day, and this is the amount of people we're feeding, and vice versa, but it tends to be more like done this way, where it's 25 people over 3 days. So here's how we manage food, which is this ability to have both those and then quickly change what that is, whether it's a LAO or an episode. It's the same thing, but it just allows someone new to jump into the budget to quickly understand. Because a lot of times what's happening is I will build this budget, but I have to pass it off to a line producer. They have to quickly understand what I was thinking. Like, how was I thinking of approaching this job? And having the ability to have all these notes in here, 6 different setups. So set dressing, we're budgeting, $1,000 for each setup. Little notes here just helps. 2 camera packages. So you see that rate of a camera package. This is a very aggressive project, putting more on screen. But what makes this unique for us when we get into the post and being able to have that all in one bid. And each job we're getting a little bit better on how we use post. But one of the features we really love is under the PDFs is it's nice to be able to, when you're building a budget, have all of these line items. And it's nice to be able to leave in rates a lot of times, because sometimes you're using this person. He's not in the job, but if he is in the job, your rate's already established there. It's so much to look at. And that one of the great things is when you come here and being able to toggle this exclude accounts totaling 0 off, and then the bid is only the items that's got money being spent in. It's just so much of a cleaner look. There's a lot of customization here that's really great. We've started rearranging our posts so that the post is cleaner to see, so that we've just have all of our post labor in one tab, and then our post audio in another tab, and then post finishing. That's one of the great things about saturation is you can constantly play with the way you set something up, and you're not breaking past projects. You're not forcing yourself into a mold that you have to follow for future projects. So
something else I'm curious about in production is, so you're submitting the bid, You are awarded the bid. From the point of where you're awarded the bid to when you go into production, what does that timeline usually look like for a commercial?
We're bidding against another company, so we turn in, we meet a number, and then maybe they come back and say, okay, what if we only shot 3 days instead of 4 days? So you're building phases, but before it was like building a whole nother hot budget or building another bid. And so like it wasn't uncommon for us to bid one job 8 times. Like, okay, what if we didn't have 8 talent and we only had 2 talent? Great questions our clients are having, but it requires you to go back and rebid it. And so previously we would open a bid, copy it, then start modifying it, and then you build a spreadsheet that compared it. So it was like all these steps. The beauty of saturation now is we open it, copy from one phase to a new phase, go in and modify it, and then you can actually just export that PDF. You give the client the power to kind of like choose and look at it together. The idea that you can assign a card, virtual or physical, to a department, a crew member, give them instructions on downloading the saturation app, and have them upload their receipts real time, take the burden off of them having to actualize their own department or their own spending, and then give the line producer or the PM or the PC the real-time view of what is being spent on that job. We're in that interesting phase where we're not quite big enough to be a union shop. We meet all the workforce standards to pay people as independent contractors. We had an invoice be sent to us via an email. I didn't know what was agreed upon totally, so I had to have the line producer look at it and sign off on it and make sure it was signed off. Then they passed it to me, which then I had to pass off to our accounting department living in the Philippines, the information on which ones to pay. And then they had to put that in QuickBooks, and then we had to either send ACH or check. So it was a complicated process that we constantly had invoices fall through the cracks, people not get paid. We had people get paid twice. Saturation in like one fell swoop solved that. It's been a huge game changer for us with the ability to send people a payment link. They upload their invoice. My virtual accountant is quickly able to see, hey, this person has their W-9s. I already have what I need on them. Gone through the flow that we've designed. The line producer has already approved this invoice. It checks off. And so then it goes to the next phase, whether it's me or them, and they can approve it and actually release the ACH.
The idea is we want to have creatives spend less time accounting and more time creating.
I haven't seen anything like it. It's just a better product than what's out there.
Head over to saturation.io and you can create your own free account today.